Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. I'm Ryan Mink here with Garrett Downing, and we are thrilled to sit down with Rashod Bateman. And Rashod, we all know that you're a big fashion guy, but there's another fashion guy entering the wide receiver room this year, DeAndre Hopkins. Did you see his Met Gala look?
Yeah, DeAndre been putting it on for a minute now.
Yeah, DeAndre's got some style. So what do you think? Is
He's valid. He's valid.
Okay. Rashod approved.
He's valid.
Is the receiver room the most fashionable room on the team? Like, what's your take?
Yeah, I would say so.
What's Zay's fashion game?
Zay's fashion game is, if it speaks where he's from. Like, it's like he from Florida and he dressed like he from Florida. Lamar's from Florida and he dressed like he from Florida.
Well, that's
kind of cool because based on what people wear, you can kind of tell like where they're from.
Yeah. Very cool.
Midwest.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where am I from?
Midwest.
This is the Midwest dad right here.
I can admit to that because I lived there fully.
Yeah,
there you go. That's true. He knows. He knows. So, hey man, congratulations on the contract.
Thank you.
Really excited about that. And just how meaningful was it to you to get that extension worked out?
It's always a blessing. It's something that all of us dream of, and I knew about this one more so than I knew about the last one. So I mean, it's a blessing to be here. To get rewarded for the work that you put in, and it shows that your teammates trust and believe in you, and the organization and coaching staff do as well. So I'm definitely not complaining. Yeah.
When you said that this was something that you felt like was coming more than the last one. Take us behind the scenes. Like, what is it like during the last however long these contract talks were going on, leading up to the announcement a couple of weeks ago when it was announced that you officially signed the deal? Like, what was going on behind the scenes, and how were you handling that?
It was stressful from a personal standpoint, just because not anything to do with the Ravens or anything like that. It's just like you just never know what's going to happen. Your career, your life is up in the air. You might have to move, or however that looks or works out. But had good conversations back and forth, and it's only so much we can say, but it all went well, and we got it done.
I'm curious, like, of course, there's the reports out there like about potentially looking for a potential trade partner. These teams calling, the Patriots calling, the Packers calling, the Cowboys calling about potential trade. Like, when the season ended and you're going through this, like, were you thinking, I'm going to be back in Baltimore this year, no question? Or were you just like, I'm unsure, I don't know what's going to happen?
No, I wanted to be back in Baltimore. I know I wanted to be back in Baltimore, but I've seen the business, and you just obviously you just never know. But it all worked out to be here. That's the first thing I told DeCosta in a mature way when we first, got on the phone. With all due respect, I want to be here. That was the first thing I said, and I think that helped us get to this point that we had today.
That's cool. Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, going through the arc of your career, now signed through 2029, and to have kind of a lot of those questions just put to bed, you're going to be here for a very long time. How big of a relief is that, just kind of taking all that off your shoulders?
I mean, it definitely feels good. Last year, they blessed me enough to, not have to worry about, certain things. And obviously, like, this is another level. But the main thing for me is, like, it's cool and all, but football doesn't change for me. I'm just excited that I get to, continue to provide for my family and, take care of my mom and, be able to, live life that we never had and, just continue to do great things, with it.
So when this contract is done, I don't know if you know this, but you'll be the longest tenured Ravens wide receiver in franchise history, which is pretty cool.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've been seeing that.
Yeah. What's your reaction to that?
It's definitely an honor. Because the receivers here, we all know the rep that we have or get. So, I mean, I don't even know if I knew that, honestly, until, this. But it's an honor, and I'm going to definitely wear it proudly for sure.
I want to go back to something you said. You said that you told DeCosta, I want to be here. Like, I want to be here. And I think that's like, you've said that many times in your career, but like there was questions, right?
Yeah.
And like, But what was it that made you feel like this is the place like I want to be, and that like despite like outside noise, like you wanted to be here?
I just think it goes to show that like a lot of people don't truly know me. Whether it's the fans or reporters or whatever's agenda that was created about me. I went through a hard time, and anybody's going to have struggles and problems with that. But it's just so much respect that comes with the team that, drafted you and just like continue to invest in you. And that's something that I've always valued before I even got into the NFL. I never wanted to, be traded to another team or have to like move or anything like that. So, I mean, it just kind of, for me, it just goes back to like my morals, and what I believe in and stand for. And it was so much adversity that I went through here, and it's like, I can turn it around. And, I did that, and I'm going to continue, to do that, God's willing.
It seems like loyalty is a big thing to you, loyal to your family, loyal to this team. Where did that kind of come from for you?
That's just how I was raised, by my mom. My family is big. Kind of went through the same situation with my college decision. Minnesota, everybody thought I was going to flip, but after all the other offers came in, but Minnesota was the first Power 5 school to even offer me a scholarship at the time. So, I knew they offered me for a real reason, which was a football reason. I know all the other schools offered just because Minnesota offered. So I stayed true to myself then, and it worked out there too.
So I want to go back to that. So you declared Minnesota coming out of high school because they were the first team that offered you a scholarship.
First Power 5 school.
First Power 5, and then basically everyone else starts calling.
Yeah.
But you just felt like the loyalty aspect, like they were first.
Yeah.
And that mattered to you.
For sure, yeah. It matters, and it always going to matter. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm also, when you talk about this, like Lamar comes to my mind because you've talked about him many times in your career and talking about how like the connection you have, the way he like sets a tone, stands by guys. And I remember when Ronnie Stanley wrote a piece this offseason about coming back from his injuries, and he made a point in the piece that he wrote that Lamar was a guy that was like always had his back, always stood by his side. I'm curious, like hearing you talk about all this, was playing with Lamar and continuing your career with him, was that at all part of the equation and just building on what you've already started with him?
1000%, because I feel like no matter like what I went through, I always knew that like, I could be like a weapon for him. He always told me that on the side, always supported me, even like last year, before I got paid, he looked at me before the season started and said, "We're gonna get you paid." And, shout out to him because, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, for, trusting me and, believing me to go out there and make plays. But I mean, he called it before I did, honestly, just looking back at everything. So he's definitely a big reason why I want to be here, everything that he stand for and represent for sure.
What did that mean to you when he said that to you?
I mean, a lot, because I mean, obviously we got GMs and owners, but in the football world, Lamar is technically like our boss, you know what I'm saying? And if you don't treat it like that, then in this league, I think you're in for a rude awakening. You got to have respect for your quarterback. And, I think that's how you're going to continue to develop that chemistry and continue to win.
I think we've all seen your talent from the minute you stepped onto the field, right? And it was always a matter of injuries and overcoming those and whatnot. And I know you've always known what you've been capable of. Yeah. But to do it last season, to have a healthy year and have the production and the big plays that you had last year, what does that do for you? Does it do anything, or you're like, I always knew that was going to happen,
I mean, yeah, I definitely knew that was going to happen, but it just felt good to like prove people wrong, for sure. And it felt good to prove DeCosta right. It felt good to prove Harsh right. It felt good to, prove my teammates right, because they go out on the media and speak on me as well, and they speak highly of me. So to be able to go out there and back that up for them, I think that's what is most important to me.
Yeah. What was it like for you going into the playoffs? I mean, unfortunately, Zay suffers the injury in the regular season finale, and man, it's on you, you're the dude, and making big plays in the playoffs, including in Buffalo and whatnot, for you to kind of step up in that way. To me, it was also another big, like, man, Bate is here.
For sure. I mean, it felt good. I mean, for one, it just felt good to be playing in the playoffs and be engaged in those type of games. As a receiver, you want to play, but you also want to be, a part of the game plan, like engaged and, help out the team the best way you can. And I hate that Zay went down, and I honestly think if he wouldn't went down, that we probably, wouldn't be in the situation that we were in. But, I trained hard for those moments. I was prepared for those moments, and I just think that, it just showed when it did.
So, Bate, I remember last year we sat down with you on the podcast, like right around this time a year ago, And I remember coming out of that, like you were so open and talking about how there was the physical side that you had to overcome, but then there was also the mental like aspect of overcoming the injuries and working your way back. How important like was the mental side of things beyond just like getting healthy, but that aspect of things and getting you to the point where you are today?
It was definitely probably the biggest thing, honestly, really? Because I mean, when you're in your head about certain stuff, it causes other things, whether it's injury, whether it's stress, or whether, whatever it may be. But being able to, now be on the other side of that and flip that mindset, I think that's why I can continue to, excel now, no matter what happens, no matter if I have a bad game or drop a ball, because I'm not perfect and I'm the most probably imperfect person there is. And, when you come to an understanding of that, life happens, and I came to a realization of that because I've never been hurt before, never, been injured before. And then on top of that, I just really wanted to, help this team, because when I got drafted in my press conference, I said I was going to be everything Lamar needed. That's what I said. So to be able to come in and not be able to, provide that don't feel good. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So just being able to flip that script for sure.
That's incredible that stuck with you. What you said in your first press conference when you arrived here, that really, you carried that with you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I mean, what I say to the world, they keep it too. You know what I'm saying?
They keep the receipts.
Yeah, they keep the receipts too. And, I know they are aware of things that, us as athletes say and what we promise that we can do and stuff like that. And obviously I'll never be perfect, and we all can be perfect. We can't be perfect, but when I am healthy, you'll definitely see that I can play football.
Yeah.
And when I am on the field, it's there.
Prove it. Like that comment and like what you said, even in this conversation, like proving your teammates right matters to you.
Yeah, for sure. I don't care about nobody else's opinion besides my teammates. Even like when I did go through the negativity from the fans, or even our own, because it was, I never talked about it, but it was bad. They was my families, my people, and it was, I ain't really expect that. I wasn't really used to that. But I think in that moment, the only thing that I cared about, like, what my teammates thought of me, because those are the ones that I go to work with. Those are the ones it's a real war. Those are your brothers, you know what I'm saying? So, because then it's like the GM, now he got to go find somebody else and do this and make all these moves when that's just not what nobody planned for, So, I don't want to be that person.
Mm-hmm. What's your advice to young aspiring athletes about social media and how you handle that?
Man, I would just say take it with a grain of salt and honestly find a way to enjoy it. It's honestly a happy place if you find a way to laugh about stuff, and once you quickly realize that a lot of people necessarily don't know what they're talking about, or people just, and also at the end of the day, people got to have a job. People got to somehow put food on the plate, and if that's creating an agenda, then you got to learn how to, navigate those things and, just let it be.
Right. Who did you lean on during the hard times?
I just got a good group of homies. You know what I'm saying? I got a good group of friends, and, my mom has always been my best friend and my strongest warrior. I've seen that lady go through so much that, that's worse than my injuries. So it's like, why can't I like pick myself back up and get out that hole? And she was there, every step of the way, every surgery. And, she definitely helped encourage me to, continue down this path for sure.
Taking it on the field, I mean, as we talked about, a huge season for you last year, but of course, I'm sure you see it and you're like, all right, I got to get even better, right?
Yeah.
When you look at your tape and your film, where do you want to still make the next strides? Like, what are your goals for this upcoming season?
I mean, I'm such a nitpicky guy when it comes to myself, so it's just hard to say whatever it is. I pride myself on trying to do everything and want to do everything. So, this off season, I just feel like I need to go, just turn it up a notch. Last year I turned it up a notch as far as, how I trained and how much I trained. And it definitely played off because I like to train, I like to work out, but I feel like it hurt me when I first got in the league because I feel like I overtrained. Then it's like I cut back a little bit to try to find like a groove. And like I feel like now that I'm back on, myself, I cannot like continue to, ramp up, my workouts and how I go about doing stuff.
I think I saw a video of you kind of running routes in a grocery store. Is that right? Are you constantly like in your everyday life just running routes?
Yeah, it is, man. It's and most athletes do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Even if it's a quarterback or O lineman, like you find yourself at times just working on your craft when they even, you don't even know you're working or supposed to be working. But that definitely keeps me, in the game. It keeps me, motivated to continue to play football for sure.
I'm excited about this trio at wide receiver with you and Zay and DeAndre Hopkins. And Hopkins just made this point. He had a press conference just a little bit ago, and he said that you guys are all different receivers, which I think is a good way of looking at it. Like, you all bring different skill sets to the table. How excited are you about this group as a whole and what you guys can do?
I'm excited, man. And it starts with, Zay, saying Zay, he's one of, I ain't never seen a receiver like him. And, I know he'll continue, to shine and bring his element to the game. And honestly, that's my bro. If it weren't for Zay, I wouldn't have got paid, you know what I'm saying? And being able to, come into an organization and have a partner, because that's what the game has transferred to now. You know what I'm saying? It used to be a one receiver game where you throw it to him, but now a lot of people, they want two dominant, receivers and tight ends, and, and now having Hop come in and doing his thing, we say it every year, it's going to be tough to guard, and, it should be tough to guard. And I think that we just got to go out and, execute our plays, because everybody can still, play and move at a high level right now.
Why do you say that you wouldn't have got paid if it weren't for Zay? Like, I'm just, it's a lot of teams, it seems like there would be competition amongst wide receivers. Like, I'm the guy. No, I'm the guy.
Man,
but like,
it's so many factors that go into like one person being successful. And I can never like say that like, oh, that was me. Obviously I made the play, and I'll take all credit for that. But Tyler got to snap the ball. Ronnie has to block. Lamar got to read. Zay got to run his route so the defenders can worry about him. Then they're going to pack the box and worry about Derrick Henry. Now there's way more room for me to create separation and, and for Zay to create separation. So all of us help each other. And if you understand football and you want to talk serious football, that's how it works. And it's never not one person just doing these amazing things. There's so many different factors, because if one of those go wrong, I ain't got none of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And honestly, shout out to Lamar. No matter what we do, he can kind of clean up a lot of stuff for us. So it definitely not working out.
Now Zay's only entering year 3, so he's got, a couple more years left or whatnot. But how much do you want to see help Zay get paid now?
He's an extra line.
So the
like
2029 for both of you guys,
Nah, hopefully that we don't end up in that situation. I hopefully get him done and soon, and but his time is coming, and I'm excited for it. Like, it's not me and Zay connect. We got the same. I just went down to Florida and worked out with him not so long ago. We've been cool and close, like, ever since we've been here. And that's two guys that's going to like lead the room. That's what you want. And we got a lot of similarities when it comes to our mindset and where we come from. You know what I'm saying, in the grind. And I respect that for sure about Zay.
I'm just curious, just to go back to the extension real quick. There's so many guys on this team right now that are deserving of contract extensions. I mean, it's the list. It's like a scroll that goes down to the floor right now, and yours got done. You know what I mean? Like, what did that mean to you? Because that there's a line of guys. You know what I mean?
And that was kind of part of the negotiation thing. It was just so many like stuff to get done, and I told that to him, like, bro, I know you got you got more stuff on your plate than I do right now. So we'll figure this out. As the time goes. I don't know who's up next. I don't know who's up next. Hopefully, like, it's too many people, man. It's too many. It's a long list.
It's
a long list.
Zay eventually, and Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum. Lamar,
Travis,
the other big
Lamar's the big one.
Lamar, Adafe's coming up. So the cost and beside it, we are sorry. We are sorry, man.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have.
Exactly.
They're doing a good job, drafting players, and that's why a lot of players want to come here. A lot of people say players come here to die, but players come here to like win championships. Even from afar, Ravens has always been a respected winning organization. So it's an honor to play for a team like that.
What's D-Hop been like so far in the receiver room, and just a veteran, kind of sharing his knowledge with you guys?
D-Hop is definitely a real veteran. And we all just get to know him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as like we get on the field, but you could just tell where it's going to go and how he's going to lead and like help us. He's been in the game a long time, and he's very, he know who he is, what he's done, and he's just always willing to, voice his opinion, like help us out. So I know that's going to be, very valuable to us.
I know you're a guy who does like to make too many bold predictions and gas up like the team or yourself before a season too much in terms of what you say.
Because he'll keep the receipts. That's why he's smart man. He's learned.
I know. I mean, you remember what he said during his introductory press conference. So, but like the offense was so good last year. Like it was the best offense in Ravens history. It was one of the best offenses in NFL history. And now you're going into year 3 with Munk, and a lot of people think it could be even better, which is like hard to fathom, but a lot of people do think it could take even another jump. What do you think? What is your impression of what this offense could be?
I think that it will continue to take the next jumps in a good way, because all the guys here are, committed to being better. And, Coach Monken demands, perfection out of us, which goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? Everybody come to work and want to be better. And from a football perspective, we don't know if that's going to be, the run game is going to get better, the pass game is going to get better, what it's going to get better. I just know the offense will continue to, evolve in a lot of different ways, because, we got the players to do that. And, you go back and you watch tape and it's like, oh, we can do this, or we can do this with him, or, Garrett can do this, or Lamar can do this. So seeing, Monk do that, and from year 1 to year 2, with the coaches and stuff that we got on staff right now, I truly believe that we'll continue, to take the next right steps.
Just hearing you talk, it's clear that like you've heard the Twitter noise about Ravens wide receivers and talk about like where guys go to die, and
I know everything.
Exactly,
I see everything. I don't want to sit here and say that I don't, because we see it. Like we are. It ain't nothing that we speak on, but it's obvious. Yeah.
Right. So how fun is it? I mean, you already did it to a degree last year. Zay became the first Pro Bowl wide receiver. You had your breakout season. Yeah. And now, like, how excited are you now also with D-Hop to be like, you know what? We're going to show, like, we're going to be one of the best trios in the league. You know what I mean? Is there a part of your brain that's still there? You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, no. Because, I mean, I'm just really hung on the fact that a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. And I don't want to waste my time, trying to prove those people wrong, or, have other guys worrying about it, because it's just people get paid to talk, and, they might be wrong, they might be right, and they might know they be wrong, you know what I'm saying? But it's a tricky game, when it comes to the media and stuff like that. But, I just let them people, do their thing, and I'm going to keep doing my thing, because obviously they were wrong about me. You know what I'm saying? They was wrong about Lamar, and they was wrong about Derek, and they was wrong about Zay. And it's like, bro, do y'all just want to keep being wrong? But it's just that the expectation and the perfection is just so high in what they expect of us that, a lot of stuff that other people say is obviously, not reality. We live in reality, and we're going to continue to do that.
Right. Well, I do have to say, and Garrett, you can attest to this, okay? When we drafted you, I wrote down on a piece of paper, Rashod Bateman's going to put up 1,000-yard season as a Raven. Let's see.
You did.
I tacked him up in my cube. Yeah. I said, mark it.
Then we moved offices, and then he couldn't find it, and so now we'll never know if it's true.
No, we haven't. You can attest that happened.
I'll give him credit.
Okay, if that's true, I think this year might be the year.
Hell yeah!
I think this year will be the year.
Let's go.
It's got to be the year.
I think it could. And like, it's interesting because like you have to be unselfish on this offense. Like there's so many good players on the offense.
That's the tough part, right?
That's the thing. Like you have to. I mean, Monken's talked about it, and I love his attitude. He's like, I want guys that want the ball. Like I don't want to be an offensive coordinator for an offense where guys are like, nah, I don't want the ball. Like he wants that.
It's like, what competitive nature like do you have? You know, especially as like, I mean, a skilled person like. A lot of us come in as the best player from our college team, and I think a lot of us have a hard time, accepting that there's a lot of good players right now that we got to get the ball to.
Right.
But that doesn't change the fact that we want to make plays and, we want the ball. But in our offense, like even Zay, like when we really talk in reality and we talk football, like what he's doing in the league is beyond, special to me because of how we play football, of how the Ravens play football. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're, just targeting Zay and putting him on this. We do what's best for the team and how we play. Zay could have 1,300 yards easy if that's what we wanted and if that was the goal. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry can rush for 2,000 easy if that's what we wanted, if that's what the goal was. But it's just never the goal, and I just kind of like wish people, understood that. But it's such a statistic world and game that it's kind of hard to, separate that from like team, sometimes.
Like you left yourself out of that, but same for you. I mean, you could have that 1,000 yards if that was the goal, like you could have that 1,000. And I think it takes it takes a unique team in order to buy into that. Like you need all these guys to buy into that in order for it to work.
And I mean, even when the Ravens like won the Super Bowl, I mean, they had good receivers, like amazing receivers, but it wasn't no Jerry Rice's or the guys that are put on this pedestal. They won a Super Bowl with a good football team that was well, rounded, and the guys made plays when they were supposed to.
Right.
So it's like now, what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? It's like you got guys that technically don't got the respect as other receivers around the league, but we still do what we need to do by our team. Obviously, we can be better, and we're going to continue to be better. But I mean, you can only really speak on the game if you really know what we do in here.
Yeah.
So it's hard for like somebody to judge what we do out there if they don't know what happened like in these walls.
Right.
I think that's kind of a crazy concept to think about. Like, how can you talk about our football game if you wasn't in the meeting?
Right. If you don't know what the play call was.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Or how it was technically supposed to be ran.
Right.
Like, did you talk to Monk? I'm pretty sure it didn't go like that. So, I mean, you just gotta accept reality, and it's part of the game. It's entertainment. It's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be some controversy and stuff like that. But that's what make it all fun.
Yeah. Well, I'll put myself out there and say I think this is the best wide receiver group that we've ever had here. So I'm excited to watch it this season, man.
I am too. I appreciate it.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. Yeah, appreciate it. Yep.
Welcome back into the Lounge Podcast. We are coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We also want to mention our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Well, thanks to Rashod Bateman for sitting down with us. He's one of my favorite guys to talk to on this team. He's honestly just so open and transparent, and somebody that's been through some highs and lows in his time, and he's open to talk about all of them, so I give him a lot of credit, and it's great to see him playing at a high level and healthy and just in a really good spot. So, and he's a great player. So it's all signs are pointing up for Bate.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch him. And, in this offense, there's just so many guys that it's like any of them could go off in any game at any time. And that's really what makes the Ravens offense so dangerous. When you get to the season's end and you look at the numbers, it might not be like, oh man, this guy's got 1,300 receiving yards like he was talking about. But like at any time, any of them can burn you. Yeah. And you can be game plan specific and opponent and matchup specific and things like that. That's what made the Ravens offense. The stat that matters the most at the end of the year is where's the offense? Well, beyond wins.
I would say there's one in particular.
Exactly, beyond wins, but where's that offense rank? And last year it ranked number 1.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
And I just think like the point that I made to him, like in order for that to work, you do need a team to buy into that concept. Yeah. And I give these players like for Bate to be like, I got paid because of all the things that Zay can do, and be like, it starts with Zay. A lot of guys don't defer because they want to be the guy, and there's like this attitude. And I think that like I give him a lot of credit for having that mindset, while also knowing that he could go off at any point. Yeah,
to me, I think his point of like these days, it's not, you can't just have the guy.
Right.
If you're going to be a good offense, like to me. And they're different players, certainly, but it reminds me a little bit of the Eagles situation that they have going on right now with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, right? Like those guys, both premier wide receivers. Yeah. Either one of them can get you. That's what the Ravens have right now with Rashod Bateman, Zay Flowers, and now adding T-Hop on top of it, and they complement each other so well. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think this offense is going to be scary good. I think Bateman's going to have another big season, and I can't wait to see what he and the Ravens have in store for this year. So we appreciate you watching and listening, and we will be back with you on the Lounge again soon.